So you finally landed the job and you got yourself a position at the car dealership. Now, what do you do? This video is for you. Welcome to Car Talk, where I give you my 20 years of experience on my 20-minute drive to work. Congratulations, you got yourself a job in the car business. Now, what do you do? So, in sales, it can get a little overwhelming because when you start, you don't know anything. And it feels like there's so much that you have to learn, so much that you have to do. And you're going to get the feeling that you have to know it all right now. But that's not the case, okay? So what I really need you to do is I need you to focus on some simple things that we're going to map out for the next 90 days. Okay? For the next 90 days, here's what I need you to do. When you first get this job, the very first week that you're there, you should get onboarded. You're going to learn about all the tools that you're going to use. The CRM, which is the customer management tool. That's how you're going to stay in contact with all the customers that you meet. How you're going to do your follow up with them. You're going to get that tool. You might have a trade-in tool that they have you use. You're going to have the OEM training from whatever brand. You're going to have to take that. Usually they give you a 90-day window to get that complete. Maybe you got some sales training there at the dealership. Maybe they don't. Depends on the dealership, okay? Here's what I want you to do at the very beginning. The very first week you're there, get all your logins, be familiar, get your computer set up with the tools that you're going to have to use, and start going through those training. Each one of those tools should have training, and I want you to go through those tools. And I want you to go through all the actual training that company or that tool offers. And I want you to go through that, and I want you to learn that inside and out. Because here's what happens. If you don't do that at the beginning, and you just kind of start using it, and you get other salespeople to show you or managers to show you what to do, you're probably only going to use the real basics of the systems. You're really not going to have like a deep understanding of how it works and to get the most out of it. I'm not sure why that always happens in the car dealership, but get those tools just like if you were going to learn anything else, right? Like if you were going to learn a manual, on how to rebuild an engine, or you were going to how to rebuild your car, or whatever it is. I really need you to take a deep dive into those systems and learn them front to back. So that would be the first thing I would start doing is learning all those systems. The second thing I would do is for the first week, get your mind right and let yourself know that, hey, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to talk to customers and I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail and I'm going to be okay with failing. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to talk to customers just as like I normally would anywhere else, and I'm just going to see what happens. Because a lot of times what happens is you try to get a lot of training done and figure out how am I going to sell these people cars and how am I going to do this, and you try to get that done like right when you start. Obviously you want to go in there and sell a car the first day, but you go, and a lot of salespeople they start over analyzing how to actually sell the car and what to say, and what if the customer says this. That's all great, and that's going to come with time. But if you're just willing to go out there and just go talk to people and just be willing to fail, what happens is when you start getting training from your manager on how to handle this or how to do this, what you're going to learn is, oh, that makes total sense because you were just with some customers last week, and that's what happened. So you're going to have some real life scenarios to actually use when the manager's training with you. But if you go every single customer you talk to, you try to dissect it and try to figure it out, what's going to happen is you're going to realize, or you're going to get a little overwhelmed. You might get discouraged if you're not selling. Then it's going to be too much information to process, and you're just going to get overall just too confused. So just the first week, just go out there, okay? Just be willing to go out there, talk to the customers, go through whatever motions you think you should go through, and be willing to fail. Okay? I need you to realize that this is an actual career that takes a long time to master. And you're not going to do it in the first week. You're not going to do it in the first month. It's going to take more than a few months to get good. Maybe you're natural. Maybe you start off and you're just a supernatural, which would be awesome. But if you're not, it's going to take time. Okay? So, you first get in there. You're going to get all your logins, all the tools that you're going to utilize. And you're going to go through all of the training that's offered on each one of those tools. You're going to be, by the end of all you learning them, you should be the guy or the gal at the dealership that knows these tools inside and out better than anybody else. Okay? That's the number one goal. And then you got your OEM testing. You need to know these cars inside and out. You're not always going to need all the product knowledge, but the more product knowledge that you have in the scenarios that you might need it, the better it's going to be. Okay, so recap so far when you get started. You're gonna get all your logins to all the systems that you guys use at your dealership. You're gonna go through all of the training that is offered. And then you're gonna be willing to go out for at least the first week and fail. Go talk to 5, 10 people. Okay, maybe it takes you 2 weeks to talk to that many people. I don't know, but be willing to just go out there and fail. Okay, don't worry so much about that one customer. Oh, it didn't go right with this customer. Oh, it didn't go right with that customer. Okay, don't over concern yourself with that. Just be willing to fail. Be humble, and be willing to talk to the manager after you talk to a customer. Okay, you're gonna start slowly figuring out what you did wrong or what you could have done better after talking with the manager. So I would say these things right there are like super important first 3 months that you have to master, and that's kind of the most boring part of the job. That's probably why everybody doesn't master these, because they all show up and they all need to make money. And they all need to make it quick. So don't get in that trap of you need to make money right this second and make it quick. Get the mentality that this is a career. And you're gonna master this career as long as it takes. You're gonna do whatever it takes. A couple other small things that I think get overlooked. One of them is it's a lot more. Every single morning that you show up to work, before you even clock in, walk your inventory. Walk all the inventory that you guys have. Know what's what. Know what cars are where, what trade-ins came in, what used cars you have. Know it, because customers are going to call you and they're going to find those cars that you didn't even know about online. They're going to come in for some like random, hey, do you have this 2010 red Toyota Tacoma? You just got off 2 days off. You don't know nothing about it. And you're going to fumble around with that customer for 20 minutes just trying to locate it, when instead that you could spend that 20 minutes building a little bit of rapport with the customer. So do your lot walk every single day. Make this a habit. Make it a habit. You know that inventory better than anybody else. Okay? Because hey, at the end of the day, that's what you're selling, right? You're selling the vehicle, so wouldn't you want to know where everything's at if that's what you're going to sell? I would think that if you want to sell that, that'd be the number one priority, is knowing where everything's at. So we're gonna learn the systems front to back, inside and out. We're gonna utilize all the training that these systems have to offer. You're gonna be willing to go out and just talk to customers and know that you're gonna fail. You're gonna be willing to do that for at least a week or two before you seek some really good training. If your dealership has any formal training on sales, you're gonna add that to the arsenal after you've learned the tools. After you've learned the CRM, trade tools, or whatever tools that you guys have, then you're gonna start diving into the actual sales tool. Now you're gonna have to break all this stuff down because it's a lot. How are you gonna do the training, on the CRM? How are you gonna do the training for the OEM? How are you going to do the sales training and make time to actually go sell something? So you're going to have to break this down. And since this is kind of like your own business, you're going to have to come up with a schedule. Come up with a schedule for yourself that every single day you map out the time and where you're going to spend it. Okay? When you walk in the morning, you go do the walk. You walk all your inventory. You know where everything's at. You sit down in the morning. You go through a little bit of training on the tools that you're used. Then you get up, take a break. You go outside. You go try to talk to some customers. Go talk to a customer. You come back inside. You jump back in, do a little bit more training. After that training's over, maybe you get back up. You go walk outside. You go try to find another customer. After that, you come back down and go do a little bit more training. Okay? It's going to take a lot of work. You got to realize it's going to take a lot of work. Some people might just show up and it might just be super easy for them. But in most cases, that's not how it's done, especially if this is a new career and something that you wanted to give a shot to, but you didn't know whether or not you could actually sell. This might take a little bit longer for you. Most people too, just so you know, most people quit within the first 90 days. Most people make an assumption that they're not going to be able to do this or it's not for them within the first 90 days. Okay? Within the first 90 days, we're not going to quit. In the first 90 days, we're going to maximize all the training. I can't tell you this enough. That's what this is for. So hopefully you got a little bit of money put away. Hopefully you don't need to make money right away, because if you make it jump too quickly because you're not making enough money and you can't make ends meet, you could be blowing an amazing career, an amazing opportunity for you and your family, because you're making a quick decision. So hopefully you're strong enough not to do that. It's a pretty good career, man. I'm excited that you got to start this. I'm excited that I get to share some of my knowledge with you. And some of it's real boring, right? Like we're talking, some of it's real boring. You know, everybody, if you go online and you look at all the stuff online and all the training that's online, it's always like these quick objection training and all this like talking, and that's just, I mean, that's such a low percentage of the business. It really is. That's why I don't really like to talk about it, because it's such a small section of the actual business. Really, the most important part is you introducing yourself to somebody that walks in and just being their friend and helping them out. They're there for a reason, okay? So when you greet a customer, they're there for a reason. They're there because they want to buy something. So sometimes just being their friend and being willing to like show them around and help them find the right vehicle, sometimes that's enough just to sell them the vehicle. Because they might already know what they want. You might already have the vehicle that they want. They've already looked at it. They might already realize that your price is already competitive, and all you got to do is just get out of your own way. I mean, sometimes it's not as difficult as we make it out. But what is the most difficult is the basics. Everybody skips the basics because they're not fun and they don't feel like they pay, right? I would be willing to bet you that 80%, if not 90% of your team at your dealership hasn't went through all of the training in the CRM that you guys use. I would be willing to bet that most of them don't fully understand the full capabilities of their CRM. I'd be willing to bet that if there's a trade tool that you guys use that most people don't know how to use it inside and out. Most of them skip through the OEM training or they're taking tests with other people or whatever it is. Most people, that's what they do. So all I want you to do is the basics. All right, let's stick to the basics and we'll build on this. You got this, and enjoy this new business.